Welcome to Kerastase. For those that are new to the brand, we're excited you're here. Welcome to this beautiful brand, Kerastase. And for those that aren't new, and this might be a refresher for you, thank you for being part of the family. So we welcome you all. I wanted to share with you again quickly what we have in store, the products behind the greatness of Kerastase, the amazing treatments. But there's a couple of things that I want to share ahead of it first that I think really set up everything you do behind the chair, really, whether that's encouraging guests on certain services, treatments, products, tools, you name it. To me, there's a couple questions you can ask that are going to really engage that consumer and kind of guide them into taking the fear from you away from offering these things. And it's this. I would encourage you, and go ahead and write this down, this question. Ask every guest every so often. Maybe it's once or twice a year because we change, but every so often ask them this question. As I see it, me as your stylist, my role is to guide you in what's best for your hair. So, are you okay with me sharing everything that will give you that every time you come? I'll say it again. So, my role as a stylist is to guide you in what's best for your hair. So, are you okay with me sharing that every time you come? If you ask that question, think about the responses that you'll get. I mean, I think it's a guarantee that they're, of course, going to say, yeah, I want you to share that. And all of a sudden, that opens up all the possibilities that you have for them with no fear of being pushy, with no fear of being concerned that they might say no, because this is verbally what they're telling you they want from you. So I would encourage you to do that. With that, Kerastase, we've been around for a long time. It's 1964. We have great momentum. This brand over the last 10 years really has taken off in a way that is spectacular. And the momentum is really strong. We're outpacing the market by over 10 times. And so we really bring a treatment-based brand to you, and it's really led by our signature service and our highlighted Fusio Dose treatments. And really, when I think about it, Fusio Dose is Kerastase. We're going to focus on Fusio Dose as the big treatment today, and then the Kerastase retail products are really the support mechanism to reinforce the boost of health that Fusio gives that guest when they go home. So we teach a couple different rituals, 3 steps. We cleanse with what we call a bon, and it looks like it's spelled Bane, but it's actually pronounced bon. And it really is French for the word bathe. So we bathe the hair with a shampoo or bon. We recommend to shampoo twice so that you really cleanse out all the impurities, the buildup first, and then that second cleanse is going to give that guest, everything that that hair needs based on the consultation and the diagnosis that you go through to determine what is best for their hair. Then the second step is we treat the hair. Now we treat it with a couple of different things. Number one, really could be a Fusio dose, and we'll zero in on that here in a second. But we also treat with a conditioner, or what we call a fondant. And a fondant is kind of, think along the lines of cakes, fondant, where it's sort of like a creamy, even though it's very sugary, it's a very creamy, luxurious cream that treats that hair. And then we also use a mask. And I always ask, what's the difference between a conditioner or a mask? And really, in our world, the difference is a conditioner is a little less concentrated and a mask is more concentrated. It's not necessarily heavier. So when you think, oh, I don't want to use a mask because it's going to be heavier. No, it's just more concentrated. So think of it this way from a treat standpoint. You have Fusio Dose, which is your ultra concentrated boost of health. Your mask is a step down in concentration. And then your conditioner is even, or fondant is even a little bit more step down. So that's the second step. We treat the hair and then we prime the hair with a heat protectant, or what we call a thermique. And a thermique will give you the 450-degree heat protection that you'll have at the highest temperature level of a flat iron or curling iron. So this gives you the protection your hair needs. And each range or family of hair care products has a thermique that's going to deliver that heat protection along with whatever technology that hair is needing, whether it's battling, frizz or needing moisture or needing repair. It's going to give you those benefits plus your heat protection. So when we think about Fusio Dose, again, as I mentioned, this is the ultra concentrated, highest parts per million. But even more important, when you think of a conditioner or a mask, those things impact usually one need, whether that's frizz, whether that's strength and repair, whether that's blonde care. It's usually one need that the mask or the conditioner fondant is delivering. Fusio Dose delivers two. Here's the easiest way to position Fusio Dose. As we mentioned, it starts with that first question about, being the stylist that guides the guest on what's best for your hair. So if you're looking for what's best for someone's hair, it is this Fusio Dose, this boost of health. And then when we talk about Fusio Dose, because it impacts two things, a primary or a secondary need. Fusio Dose, then you want to position it by saying to the guest, because the luxury guest has a mindset of they're looking for perfect utopia hair. They're not looking for pretty good hair or, not too bad. They're wanting the best. So we want to tap into that by asking them this question, and go ahead and write this down as well. If you could have your most perfect utopia hair, what are the two challenges that you may be facing with your hair that's keeping you from that? I'll say it again. If you could have your most perfect utopia hair, what are the two challenges that your hair is going through that are keeping you from that? Whatever those two things are, and you verify that because you're the expert, you're the stylist. Fusio Dose, you can then come with this. I have a mega dose of vitamins and nutrients geared to impact those two things. And as those two things change, because your hair changes, you do different things with that. You have seasons that change the hair fiber. Fusio Dose changes with it. So that's the easiest way. And you recommend that we should do this every time you're here. And then I will give you the recommendation of what retail take-home products you'll need to really reinforce that boost of health that we just gave it, so that you'll maintain that health until the next time you come back and we give that boost of health. So the way we do Fusio Dose is we shampoo twice and then we towel dry the hair. And then this replaces your conditioner or mask because it's that really boost of health, more concentration. This is that in-salon service that they can get nowhere other than with you. And then what you do is you take the concentrate, which is the little vial in the picture you'll see at the bottom there. That is the primary need. And then you'll take the secondary need that the hair has, and you'll grab the corresponding booster, the tube that you see there, and you'll take off the cap on both of them. You'll put the booster into the concentrate, and you will twist it until it locks. When it locks, bubbles will come down that booster. And what it's doing, it's mixing the right amount of that booster into that concentrate vial. From there, you'll take the booster out. You'll take it out slowly because it'll drip a little bit. And then you want to put the cap back on that booster. And then you have a sprayer in your concentrate box. In the concentrate box, there's 10 concentrates. There's a sprayer for each box. You want to keep those sprayers initially. After a while, you'll have so many different ones. And then you'll be able to throw them out. But then you put the sprayer on top of the bottle, and then you shake it up, and now you're ready to go. You want to do this right when you're going to do this step. You don't want to pre-do this like you might single process color, because the minute it mixes, it's ready to go. You don't want to leave it sit. So then what you do is you separate the hair in two sections, grab 1 to 2 inch sections and spray down that hair fiber, pulling it through, saturating that hair fiber, and you do that across the entire head. You want to use the entire bottle, no matter how much hair they have. You can't overuse it, so you want to use that entire bottle. If for some reason, generally one concentrate and one booster mixture is all you'll need. If someone has a lot of hair and you need to use two, you need to charge according to that. And some salons charge twice the recommended, which we recommend $40 for this service price, or some salons actually charge maybe half. It is a rare occurrence that you'll need to use more than one bottle, but if you do, that's what I recommend. So with that, that is how you do it. So here's what we have. We actually have 30 different combinations. So we have 5 boosters and 6 concentrates. Remember, the booster represents the secondary need. The concentrate, the vials, constitute the primary hair concern. So let's start there. We have 6 concentrates. The first one is for blondes. It's Blond Absolu, and it's actually got pigment in it. You can kind of see in the picture there, it's got purple pigment. So it will neutralize those yellowish brassy tones. And I will go into all the detail on what each range that coincides with these does and kind of how it does it. But really what the blonde does is it gives blondes what they need, which is hydration and recovery. Because of the process they go through when lightening, that hair fiber needs to recover. So it gives you moisture, recovery, and neutralizing pigment for those undertones that we get with lighter levels, yellowish brassiness. The second one is Nutritive, and this one is all about moisture, nourishing dry hair. So this is going to give you a huge dose of nourishment and hydration. Then we have Chroma Absolu, and Chroma Absolu deals strictly with color protection. This is our color preservation range that gives you a number of different things to battle all the things that impact color negatively. We'll go into more details when we get to the Chroma Absolu retail range, but again, this is your color protection. Then you have resistance, which is a strength and repair. When you have a little bit of damage or different levels of damage, you're going to want to go here with resistance that will repair the hair when it's damaged. And then we go to Curl Manifesto, and Curl Manifesto is really dealing with what curly hair needs, which is moisture, definition, and strength, because curly hair, as we'll dig into when we get to the retail range and talk about what curly hair goes through and needs, it really needs all those 3 things. So this is going to give everything a curly consumer needs. And then the final one is Genesis. And Genesis deals with hair shedding, or what we call hair fall. And this can come from multiple different things, whether it's excess brushing, styling, the environment. COVID has had a big impact on hair shedding, coming off at the root. And that's the difference when you think about hair coming out. When you see short hair on your brush or on your clothes or in the drain, that is breakage, breaking off generally at the ends of the hair. When you're seeing longer hairs, you're having it's coming off at the root, it's shedding. That is where Genesis comes in, really reinforces that hair, and it's also going to thicken it too. So as you're shedding hair and you're thinner, it's going to help battle that for your scalp and for your hair, but it's also going to cosmetically thicken that hair fiber. So then when we look to the secondary need, we have 5 with the boosters. So we have a blonde booster that gives, again, what blondes need, recovery and moisture. We have a nutrition or a hydration booster that's tied to our nutritive range. And it nourishes dry hair. And then we have an anti-frizz that really is tied to our discipline retail range that is going to help you protect against humidity and frizz. And then we have our color protection, which is called Brilliance, that really boosts shine, but also it does more than that. It boosts shine, but also gives you the color preservation that you're looking for when protecting that hair color. And then the last one is another impact for breakage, strength and repair, and that is in our reconstruction that is tied to the resistance range. So we have 30 combinations, but again, I encourage you to go back to getting comfortable with the flow of conversation that helps you get permission for everything you want to reinforce that's best for your guest hair, and that is going to then set up a conversation around, the two things that are keeping your guest from that perfect utopia hair. Once you identify that in your consultation and then you come with a solution, you have now solved problems for your guests, which is exactly what they're looking for from you. So, and this again represents two solutions to two hair needs, which is a more impactful thing than just a conditioner or mask. So you have really great options to give your guests. So as we mentioned, we have six concentrates. We have 5 boosters. And what we've done with these, and here I'm not going to go into all the detail around the ingredients, but what we've done is highlighted with Fusio Dose the ingredients that really resonate with people in skincare that also are great tools within the hair fiber. And that's we just had a reinvention, next generation of Fusio Dose. And that's where a lot of these skincare ingredients have come from, because we've studied that consumers search more often than they're more knowledgeable than they've ever been about ingredients, and they search out these things. So we're highlighting these as key ingredients that are going to help you kind of speak to the storytelling of the whatever the hair needs: blonde care, nourishment, hair shedding, strength and repair, curly hair, color protection. So that, and I'm going to move forward because we're going to just focus in on Fusio Dose and then the retail products. So here we now are with the retail ranges. And one of the things I get a lot of times, people say, oh my gosh, wow, there's a lot of products. Why do we have so many products? Well, it's really born out of the idea of how luxury consumers behave, and really how most of us behave anyway. I usually ask stylists, hey, by show of hands, how many of you guys have different things in your shower that you use? And I'll ask them why. And they'll say, well, my hair needs different things. I do different things with it. Seasons change. And that's exactly right. That's how most of us are. The luxury consumer is definitely not wanting a one size fits all or most. They're wanting what is specific to my hair right now. And they want that guidance from you. So will there be a little bit of overlap on some of these things? Sure, because there's some things that do and focus on maybe a specific hair need, but and that guest might need that right now, but then they might say, you know what, I'm going to need this at another time. So you've got tools that are very specific based on your diagnosis and your consultation. So here we go. Again, we teach cleanse, treat, prime, and then we style the hair. So I start with Initialiste. And really, another question that I generally get from stylists is that you've got a lot of serums. What is the difference? And to me, we start with Initialiste because of really what it is. And the way to position this is to ask this question to your guest. And I want you to kind of visualize this in your world. If I was to ask you, just curious, do you use a multivitamin? Do you take a multivitamin for your body? You're generally going to get one or two answers. You're either going to get, yeah, I do, or yeah, I don't, but I think I should. I probably should. So then I followed up with asking, if you do that, what do you get out of a multivitamin? And generally they're going to answer, well, you get a little bit of everything for your overall health. It's a multivitamin, gives you a little bit of everything. So you now have identified a behavior in their life that you now want to jump into their shoes and give them that same behavior for their hair and scalp. So Initialiste is your multivitamin for your hair and scalp. Every other serum, and we're going to get to the other serums, they are supplements. Because then I usually ask, what's the difference between a supplement and a multivitamin? And a multivitamin is great overall health. A supplement is very specific, something they need directly, vitamin D, zinc, calcium, you name it, it's very specific. Multivitamin is general. So Initialiste gives you a little bit of everything, as you can see here. It gives you strength, it gives you shine, softness, substance, vitality. It is that multivitamin with ceramides, conditioning agents, UV filters to really kind of protect that hair, green tea extract that really gives it more protection as well. And it really strengthens that hair structure with the SP94. So you're getting a little bit of everything. This is for every consumer. You can put it on wet, damp hair, or dry hair. Generally, what we recommend is to use it right when you get out of the shower. And as you can see, there's a pipette dropper in that. You're going to want to squeeze the pipette, let it go. It will fill up generally about 2/3 of the way. And then you're going to want to drop that right on the scalp, right down the middle from forehead to the back. So front to back. This is a milky substance. So it will stay in the hair fiber and you can kind of leave it there before you don't have to massage it in quickly. And then you go get another pipette full and then you drip it from ear to ear so that you're kind of crisscrossing, and then you can fill in the gaps. So it's generally like 2 to 3 pipettes, medium to thick hair, 4 to 5. Again, you put it on either damp hair, towel dried, usually right out of the shower, or you can put it on dry hair. This is a daily use. So for that consumer that doesn't shampoo every day, it's fine. Just put it on dry and then you massage it in. So this is your multivitamin, and we're going to jump to the next one, which is Blond Absolu. So again, when we talked about what do blondes need, they need moisture, hydration, and recovery. So with that, we have your everyday blonde care right here. So we have two shampoos. We have Bond Lumiere, which is the one on the left, and it is a clear bottle. It is a clear shampoo. And then we have Bond Ultraviolet that is going to give you your purple pigment, because we know that a couple weeks down the road after lightening, our blonde consumers can get some unwanted tones, brassiness, yellowish tones. And they need that purple to neutralize that. It does not replace your toner, but it is going to give you neutralizing capabilities. And I would encourage you to kind of share that with your guest, to let them know, here's what you might expect a couple weeks down the road. These tones come up. You need something to help you neutralize those. So it does it with hyaluronic acid to give you moisture. An Edelweiss flower is a flower that we find in the Swiss Alps, and it lives at these high altitudes where there's harsh conditions, and it thrives. It recovers. So when blondes need recovery from lightening their hair, this is going to give them that recovery agent. So the moisture and recovery comes from those two key ingredients. We then have our everyday conditioner called Cica Flash. That is a everyday, there's no pigment in it, even though the color is purple. There is no pigment in it. That is just the color of the formula. And then we do have a purple pigmented ultraviolet mask. So it gives the consumer options. If they think, I want the mask because I like using a mask, I'll use that as my neutralizer. Some consumers might say, I'd rather use a conditioner. I feel like that's better for me. So my neutralizer needs to come with the shampoo. And then finally, we have our Thermique, which is called Cicaplasm in a pump. And this is going to give you that heat protection up to 450 degrees, along with your moisture and recovery. So every range that we talk about, every hair care family, whatever ingredients that are in that family, they're in all the products. But each product serves a different purpose: the cleanse, the treat, the prime. So know that every one of these has that hyaluronic acid, the Edelweiss flower, or whatever ingredient as we move to the next ranges, it's in each one. Okay. So then we go to Blond Absolu Cica Extreme. So this is a little bit more intense. This is for that extreme blonde hair, post lightening, right after bleaching. Think of it this way, and this is the easiest way to share this with your guest. If you ran a marathon, when you get done running that marathon, you are going to eat and drink very different than you normally would because you just put your body through a harsh situation. You just ran 26 miles. You need to replenish a whole lot because of what you just pulled out of your body by running a marathon. No different, very similar to lightening the hair. When you lighten that hair fiber, you put it through a harsh situation. You really pulled out a lot. You need to replenish that. The easiest way to showcase this is to share with your guest and grab the Laban, which is your shampoo. Now you can see it looks almost like a mask. It's in a tub. Grab it when you lighten somebody's hair and say, what we just did to your hair, we put it through a harsh, process. So we need to replenish it with a lot. So Blond Absolu gives you moisture and recovery, but because we just did this, this is almost like running a marathon. You need to really replenish a lot, so much, so intense, and then take the cap off the Bond, the shampoo, turn it upside down and say, this is how intense. This is a shampoo. This is so concentrated with that hyaluronic acid and the edelweiss oil to really recover and nourish and give the hydration. This is what you need every time we lighten your hair, to use this for about 3 to 4 weeks. You can use it for good, but you definitely want to use it, for at least 3 or 4 weeks after lightening. We have a mask. We go right to the mask because we know that you need a more intense, concentration of that recovery and nourishment. So we go to the mask. This mask does not have pigment in it like the last one. And if you think about it, it really doesn't need it because you just lighten your hair. You don't need it. Everything looks great. There's no unwanted tones because you're freshly lightened. So, and then the final product in Cica Extreme is the oil. And the oil is going to give you all that intense nourishment recovery, but also beautiful shine. It's a light to medium oil that really brightens that beautiful blonde and gives them that shine that they're looking for. So that is Cica Extreme. Then we shift to one of the two night serums that we have. And really, the other way to position night serums is to ask your guests, hey, I'm just curious, do you have some sort of nighttime regimen, whether that's skincare or something nighttime that you do? And usually somebody's going to say, of course, yeah, I do and use a skincare regimen that I put on at nighttime. And I'd ask them, what makes you do it at night? And usually they'll say, because it works while I'm sleeping. It, gives me what I need while the environment is not messing with me. That's exactly what these do. Now, these are more than just night serums. You can use them as a refresh during the day. It's a leave-in. You don't need to rinse it out, or you can blow dry it in too. It gives you a great feel when you blow dry it in too. But generally, people use it as a night serum. So for blondes, this gives them a really concentrated dose of the edelweiss and the hyaluronic acid for nourishment and recovery at nighttime. So that is Blond Absolu. We'll now jump to what is called Chronologiste. Really, Chronologiste is for two consumers. It's for that consumer that really doesn't have, a specific challenge with their hair, but they want the best of the best. This is that luxury consumer, that bougie guest that says, I want what you have that is the best. So this is the most expensive range that we have within Kerastase. The mask is $74, I think. And this is for that consumer. The other consumer that it's really for, and when you really see it in the name, Chronologiste, chrono meaning time. So it's really an anti-aging range for when that hair, when you hear buzzwords from your guest saying, my hair is just not what it once was. It just doesn't feel the same. So Chronologiste is where you're going to want to go. So it's going to give them all that they need to kind of restore their hair to its youthful state. And it does it because when you think about, when your hair ages, it's drier, it's more coarse, it's usually not as dense and thick as it once was. So it just doesn't have the feel. So it needs the hyaluronic acid to really moisturize and plump that hair fiber. It needs vitamin E to protect it from all the external aggressors, ultraviolet damage, pollution, free radicals. And then the key ingredient really is called abscene. And it is a miracle molecule. It's a molecule that lives at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean floor, right at the base of these volcanoes. And if you think about what a volcano does when it erupts, lava comes out and goes all over the land and it kills everything. It devastates that land that it rolls over. Abscene lives there. And Abscene, every time the lava devastates everything, it regenerates. It revives itself. It lives there. So when your hair's not what it once was, this is going to regenerate it and give it that revitalization back to its more youthful state. So it gives all that it needs to do that. So we have a pre-cleanse. This is kind of like one of our multiple clarifying shampoos or cleansers. We have clarifiers, but with purpose. This one has charcoal in it. So its purpose is really to detox. So that consumer that wants the best of the best, they want a good detox, good clarify of their scalp and hair. The charcoal in this, it is black. It will not stain hair, so it can go on any shade of hair color, blondes, brunettes, redheads, but it does do what charcoal is great for, really detoxing, pulling every impurity out of the pores. So that is a once a week cleanse detox. Then you have your everyday shampoo in the Bond Regenerant. And then you have your mask. We go right to the mask because we know that it's more intense, more concentrated. We want to impact that hair fiber and make it feel like its youthful state. And we get that with the mask. It is not heavy, it is just more concentrated. Then we have really three primers. Now I'm going to start with the one in the middle. They are our thermique, and that is our general thermique that gives you your heat protection along with all the ingredients that help that hair get back to its youthful state. Then we have our Huile de Parfum. Huile is French for oil. So it's an oil perfume. And it's a beautiful fragrance that gives you all the benefits of Chronologiste plus amazing shine. The third product that's on the left there is brand new in the United States. It has just come out. It is our most expensive product that we sell in Kerastase. It retails for $160 because it is a ultra luxury serum that does so much. It delivers all that Chronologiste delivers in a very concentrated format to deliver that moisture, plumping, strengthening, but it also delivers it for the scalp too. It is a skin and hair. So it nourishes the scalp. It delivers all that for the hair fiber. And it also gives you heat protection all the way up to the 450 degrees. So in essence, it's a thermique with a serum treatment, intense concentrated dose. So it's very luxurious. And this is for that consumer that really wants to impact everything with their hair at a high level. So that is Chronologiste. So then we jump to Genesis. Genesis is really all about hair shedding. So I go back to, when you think about if you see short hairs on your clothes or your hairbrush or the bottom of your drain, you're going to know that's breakage. When you see long hairs, you know that's coming out at the root. When it's coming out at the root, Genesis is where you're going to want to go for hair shedding. So Genesis is about hair fall. That's what we call it. And it has a number of different things that are going to impact that. So arginine is going to wake up that hair bulb when it's dormant, when it's not strong enough to hold that hair, and so the hair kind of sheds. It's not strong. It needs to be woken up. Arginine does that. Caffeine stimulates blood flow that gives you great foundation in your scalp to grow thicker, fuller hair. Ginger root nourishes that hair, that scalp, and really kind of gives nourishment to the hair and scalp. And then the Edelweiss is, as you remember, maybe it's in Blond Absolu, it's a recovery agent. So if you're having shedding based on excess brushing, it needs a recovery agent that's going to help that hair stay strong and help that scalp be strong so it avoids hair shedding. Great range for COVID, when you've had COVID shedding, for postpartum, or just really finding a lot of hair on the bottom of the drain in your hairbrush. Genesis is where you're going to want to go. It's also got a beautiful fragrance that will really be enticing for the guest at the back bar to want to take it home. So we have two shampoos. We have Bond Hydra. It's actually pronounced Hydra. I say Hydra because I want to help you understand the difference between these two that can be confusing. When you see Hydra or Hydra, a lot of times you think that is for dry hair. Bond Hydra is actually for oily scalp and oily hair. Bond Nutra, Nutra in our world is all about nutrition. So nourishment, nutrition. So Bond Nutra is for dry hair. Bond Hydra is for oily hair. Okay, so two different shampoos depending on what your hair need is. Then we have our conditioner fondant. We have our mask, more concentrated, not heavier. We have our Defense Thermique that comes in a spray. So this is a little bit lighter Thermique as a spray, gives your 450-degree heat protection. And then the star product is the serum. This is a scalp serum. Now, remember when we talked about Initialiste as your multivitamin, and every other serum is a supplement. This is your supplement very specific to hair shedding. So this is you apply it the exact same way you do Initialiste. It's got a dropper pipette. You'll fill it, you'll drip it front to back. Now, this is a very liquidy serum. Initialiste is a little bit more milky. It will stay in the hair and won't run. This will run. So know that when you drop it from front to back, you're going to want to immediately massage that into the scalp. Then you're going to fill it again and go from ear to ear, and then you're going to want to immediately massage that in as well because of how liquidy it is. So that is Genesis. Beautiful range. This will be one of your better sellers. The fragrance is awesome, and it's an amazing product for especially people, what they're going through right now. We then have a men's segment tied to it because we felt like it was a good fit to tie it into Genesis, but it's not about hair shedding. It's about thinning hair, or when a guy has thin hair and wants to cosmetically thicken it. This will not regrow hair or stop you from shedding. This will just thicken the hair that you have. So we take a couple of characteristics in mind with men. And Genesis Homme, the word homme in French is just man. So we have two shampoos. We have a Bond de Force, Quotidien, and then we have Bond de Masse, Épais Essant. Okay. Bond de Force, that's probably the easiest way to speak to it, is a strengthening shampoo. And it's really a deep cleansing for that guy who's really active. He's sweating, he's working out, he's outside. This would be the shampoo for him. Bond de Masse is more for the guy who's thinning, who's got thinner hair and wants to give it a thickening effect. So we do not currently have a conditioner or a mask. Now, that's really because most guys don't use conditioners. We want to teach them the reason why. But in the meantime, they really can use any conditioner that we have or any mask that we have. Guys generally love Genesis, so that would be a good place to take them, or Chronologiste. So then we have two stylers, and they're both geared around thickening. And honestly, the thickening spray, the spray de force, Epais is really a great thickening spray that both male and female will love. So I think we have ended up selling a lot of this thickening spray to females. So it's definitely a great way to give you a thickening agent with the expanding polymers. And then we have a light holding wax that also gives you a great thickening effect for that male consumer or shorter hairstyles. Okay, so that's Genesis Homme. And then we go to Elixir Ultime. Elixir Ultime is really all about shine. So another one, kind of the second range that's really not geared around any specific hair challenge, but somebody who wants shine. So it's got a very light oil complex that's going to deliver that shine and nourishment. So we have a shampoo, we have a conditioner, we have the bond, the fondant, we have our mask, and then we have our amazing Wheel Original oil. And this is a primer. It gives you a little bit of heat protection, but more so indirect heat. 325 for like blow dryers. But this is going to be a beautiful multi-use oil that absorbs very quickly into the hair. It does not leave the hair greasy. It can be used as a pre-cleanse, a great detangler. Oil cleanses oil. We see that in oil-based makeup cleansers. It can be used as a standalone finisher. It can be mixed into our conditioners to give a little bit more shine. And it's a great product to mix in with our thermiques so that you get the heat protection, but you all and the benefit of whatever that hair needs, but then you get amazing shine as well. So definitely play with this product. It is a beautiful product. It's our number one product in all of Kerastase, Wheel Original. So that is Elixir Ultime. Then we go to Curl Manifesto. And Curl Manifesto is all about curly hair. When you want to wear your hair curly and leave it in its natural texture, this will give it everything it needs to give the what curly hair needs. Curly hair needs moisture, nourishment. It needs strength because of we're going to talk a little bit about how your hair gets curly, and it needs definition. So when you think about how hair becomes curly, a straight-haired consumer has a really circular follicle, so that when that hair comes out of that follicle, it has the same diameter. It is a perfect circle. Curly hair has a follicle that is more oblong, and the more oblong it gets, the more coily the hair is going to become. Think of it this way: when you take like a ribbon when you're wrapping Christmas presents, and you grab scissors and run the scissors along the ribbon, you kind of crimp that ribbon and you're really changing one of the sides of it. And that's really what happens when you have an oblong follicle, where you kind of have a little bit of excess keratin that gets on one side of the hair fiber and it crimps that hair fiber. And you know, when you run that scissors along that ribbon, it starts to coil. That is how you get curly hair. So with that, you end up with a different diameter on that hair fiber. And it really kind of alternates down the hair fiber where it's thin, it's thick, it's thin, it's thick, it's thin, it's thick. So where you have the thinner portions of that hair fiber, you need strength. So we do all of that with the Manuka honey that gives you the hydrating, the nourishment. It's very healing. It's a beautiful honey found in New Zealand that really is a healthy nourishment to the hair. And then we have ceramides. Ceramides kind of strengthen that hair fiber, and almost in the cuticle kind of lays on the hair fiber almost like shingles on a roof. And ceramides really kind of hold those shingles down, strengthening that hair fiber, keeping the nourishment in, keeping it from becoming very porous. And then the final moisturizing agent is glycerin, really found a lot in skincare. It really pushes the moisture to the surface of the hair fiber so that you've got really an even porosity and nourishment that that curly consumer needs. So with that, it gives the hydration, the strength, and the definition. So we have a shampoo or bond that is sulfate free. We have a conditioner fondant and a mask. And then we have 3 treatment stylers that really prime and define that curly hair. So we start with the creme. The creme is a very light lotion cream that gives you sort of like a foundation of nourishment. And like I said, every one of these products has the manuka honey, the ceramides, the glycerins, but in differing proportions. So the creme is going to be your foundation of nourishment. And then when we need a little bit more control, we jump to the gelée and we layer that on top. So most curly consumers, the wavy consumer, a type 2 curl, is going to probably just use generally the creme. As we get more to type 3 curly consumers, then we start layering products. Curly consumers use on average 6 to 8 products versus a straight hair consumer that uses 2 to 4. So the curly consumer at type 3 will layer the gelée, which is a gel cream without the crunch. It gives a little bit more control without the crunch. Then the final treatment styler is the oil, the Wheel Sublime Repair. And the oil is going to give you a lot of different multi-use. You can use it as a pre-cleanse because the curly consumer, especially when they have type 4, type 3, type 4, their shampoo day is usually their most challenging day. The hair is tangled and it's challenging to get shampoo and to detangle it. The oil is a great detangler, great pre-cleanse, okay? It's also a great nighttime serum to kind of like nourish those lengths and ends and sort of put your hair in a bun and pineapple it out and let it really nourish while you sleep. So you wake up frizz-free, your hair is nourished and you're ready for the day. It's also a great, nourishment, as a refresh or as a standalone finisher too, because it gives great shine. It's going to give you the nourishment, but also great strength. It's a little bit heavier for the ceramides, for that type 4 tight coils, where they're going to need a little bit more strengthening because they've got a lot more of the thick, thin alternating pattern because they have a really, really tight coil. The final product's the star product, the Refresh Absolu. This is your refresh, redefining those curls on day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, in between shampoos. So this is your refresh, a great, light mist to kind of redefine those curls. So Curl Manifesto is a beautiful range for curly textures from type 2 to type 4. Okay. So now we jump to Nutritive. Nutritive is really one of our legacy ranges that if you've been with Kerastase for a while, Nutritive's been around for a little bit. So we have 2 different sub ranges within it. One for normal to dry hair, the one you see here, the Irisome complex. And we have 2 shampoos in it. Really Bond, and it's pronounced Satan, not satin. It looks like satin, but it's Bond Satan 1 and Bond Satan 2. Bond Satan 1 is really your everyday shampoo. So it's great for kids or maybe a family that uses the same shampoo. This is probably where you'd want to go with them. Bond Satan 2 is when you start getting into, I need hydration. I've got normal to dry hair. Bond Satan 2 is going to start giving you a little bit more of that nourishment. We then have our Le Vital, which is our daily conditioner. And then we have 2 masks. We have Mask Intense Fine and Mask Intense Thick. So different thicknesses, fine hair, thick hair, both can have dryness. So they're going to need a little bit level of weight and concentration for their hair. And then we finish with Nectar Thermique. That is one of our best-selling thermiques. Every hair needs moisture, so you get your heat protection up to 450 plus your nourishment and hydration with Nectar Thermique. So then we have Bond Magistral. So this is where we kick it up a notch for that hair that's really more dry to severely dry. They are very dry. We kind of impact a little bit more intensity of moisturizing properties with some different ingredients that make that a little bit more intense. So Bond Magistral, we have our conditioner fondant, our mask Magistral, and then the star product, in my opinion, that I think is underutilized is Creme Magistral. Creme Magistral is great to me as two different times of the year. In the wintertime when it's very dry, this is for someone who's got dryness, severely dry. This is almost like lotion for the hair. So if during the wintertime you keep lotion in your bag because your skin gets dry and you reapply it, during the day when you feel your hands getting dry, your elbows getting dry, your skin getting dry, for the consumer that has dry to severely dry hair, this is that lotion for the hair that you'll want to keep in your purse, in your bag to really refresh. It's a leave-in, so you can refresh during the day. You can blow dry it in. It's got great heat protection for indirect heat, up to 325, so more like blow dryers. But the other great time to use Creme Magistral is also in the summertime when you come back from the pool or the ocean and the chlorine, the pool has dried your hair out, the ocean has dried your hair out. This is a great product to really nourish that hair and bring it back to a good feel, a good nourished level. Okay. So then we have our second night serum of our ranges. So you remember we have a blonde one for the blondes that gives nourishment, moisture, and recovery. Now you might be saying, well, wait a minute. In Nutritive, if we already have a blonde one that gives moisture and nourishment, why do we need this one? Well, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the most, the blonde night serum is a 4 for moisture and nourishment. It is a 5 for recovery. The 8-hour magic night serum is a 5 for moisture. So if moisture is what your real need is, you want to go to the 8-hour magic night serum. If nourishment and recovery, more for blondes, you're going to want to go there. So both of these do a great job too of giving you pillow protection from pillow friction so that you wake up frizz-free. You wake up with amazing shine, great feel to the hair, but this Magic Night Serum is going to give you a lot of nourishment and then help your hair not get dry. So it not only nourishes, it really keeps it from becoming dry. It's got a beautiful fragrance, one of the most recognizable fragrances. It is a leave-in, beautiful product. So now we go to resistance. Resistance is all about strength and repair. And we have 3 different sub ranges inside of resistance that have 3 different purposes, mainly geared around like the different level of repair needed. So the first one is what you see here, Force Architect. This is for light damage. So mechanical damage from heat tools, maybe slight chemical damage from maybe single process color, but really this is that hair that's slightly damaged where you've got a little bit of cracks in it that, and when that happens, sometimes you can have a false sense of diagnosis. Someone might feel like my hair is a little bit dull. It's not as shiny as it was. So maybe I need Elixir Ultime, which was the really shine range with the light oils. Not necessarily. You may need to repair some slight damage because when you have the damage, you get those little cracks. The hair does not reflect light as well because of those cracks. So we need to seal them. And we need to seal them so that then the hair will reflect light. You'll have beautiful shine. You'll repair that damage. We do that with Pro-Keratin, fills in those gaps, ceramides that really kind of smooth that surface. And we give that hair that repair that it needs. So we have a shampoo, a bond. We have our Cement Anti-Assure. That is our conditioner, daily conditioner fondant. We have our mask. And then we have one of our top sellers, Cement Thermique. This is a beautiful thermique with an amazing citrus fragrance that is one of the better sellers. And I want to kind of say something I haven't said yet. What we generally recommend is to definitely keep your conditioner and mask and shampoo together. Where you can stray a little bit is your thermique. So you might say, look, I need to be in whatever range it might be, Genesis, but I want something else. So I'll use a different thermique from a different range. A lot of times people will use Samant thermique because they'll say, maybe I need color protection, maybe I need shine, maybe I need hair shedding protection, but I want to repair a little bit because I have a little bit of damage. So I'm going to use this Samant thermique with whatever shampoo and conditioner. You can do that. Okay. So then we jump to Extensioniste. And this is really a sub-range that's a little bit more intense repair complex. But it's for that consumer that kind of says, look, I'm trying to grow my hair out longer and it just doesn't seem to want to do it. So what we know there is that we know the hair is growing, but what's happening is they're having the hair break off at the end, is so they're not keeping the hair long as it grows. So what we need to do is to really strengthen all the way from roots to ends. And we use a little bit more intense complex with things that really strengthen, like creatine. A lot of bodybuilders use that. Maleic acid that really kind of penetrates that fiber, and taurine is going to give a protective effect for the hair follicle, and it really stimulates blood flow so that from scalp all the way to the ends of the hair, we give it a reinforcement and strengthening effect. So we have our Bond shampoo, we have a fondant conditioner, a mask, we have our thermique for our heat protection, and then we have our supplement serum that's going to be from scalp all the way to ends. Again, it's a dropper pipette, so you apply it the same way. This is a more milky substance, so it will stay in the hair fiber. So you're going to apply it front to back, ear to ear, massage it in, and then pull it through the hair too, so that you're really giving a great strengthening effect from the scalp all the way to the ends of the hair. So this will really help your consumer grow their hair longer when they have long hair goals. Great product to be able to do like before and afters for your social channels. So when you get somebody on Extensioniste, you're going to want to do some before and after pictures. The other thing is it's great for the front desk. When you're scheduling appointments and you're hearing things like, no, I don't need a haircut. I'm trying to grow my hair longer. Oh, no kidding. Great. We have a range of hair care products that helps you grow your hair longer. We'd love to share that with you when you're in. So it's some good buzzwords for you at the front desk. So the final resistance range is a lot more intense. So now this is the most intense repair. This really, the name says it all, therapist. So this is like therapy. And when you think about therapy, think about the idea that therapy is not something you want to do forever. When you go to physical therapy, maybe you've got, a knee or a broken bone or a pulled muscle, something you've got to really go to physical therapy. You don't want to do that forever. You want to get back on your feet, strengthen what needs strengthened, and then move on with your life. No different here. With your hair, this is not a place you will stay forever because it is a very intense amount of amino acids, wheat proteins, and our SP94 complex that really gives structure and strength to the hair. So it's very intense, and you will want to strengthen the hair and then graduate out of this. Generally, this range you're going to probably see go for blondes. So you might be thinking, well, wait a minute, didn't we say we had Cica Extreme that was a little more intense a while back? Think of it this way. Cica Extreme is when we've lightened the hair and we've pushed the boundaries of the hair fiber, but we're okay. Therapist is we've gone too far. We have damage. We have overprocessed, severe damage. We need to really repair. So we stay here for a couple of weeks, build it back up, and then we graduate out of this. We may graduate to Cica Extreme. We may graduate to the Resistance Force Architect, because we might still have a little bit of damage, or we might move into our next range, which will be Chroma Absolu, because it's about color protection. Either way, we will graduate at some point. So we have a shampoo, our Bond Therapiste. We go right to the mask because we need a more intense repair. So we go to the mask. We have our thermique, which is Samant thermique that can be used here as well. And then we have our serum therapiste, another supplement. This is really for the ends. So it will give you heat protection. It is a dual chamber, kind of a gel cream that gives you heat protection and deep repair for the ends, sealing those split ends. Okay. So that is Therapiste in the Resistance. So we have 3 sub ranges. So now we jump to Chroma Absolu. Chroma Absolu is all about color preservation or color protection. So we use an acid complex because when you think about how you put color into the hair fiber, you open the cuticle with a alkaline source. And then when you push the hair color into that hair fiber, you close it down with an acid source. So it only makes sense that if we're trying to preserve that color, we need to use acid technology because we really want to lock that in. The other things, when you think about all the impact that helps hair color fade or that impacts because of hair color, we get chemical damage. So we need to repair that. We get hair color fades when it's exposed to heat, ultraviolet, sun, water minerals. So we need a lot of different things that are going to help combat the things that help hair color fade. So we use amino acid to rebuild that chemical damage. We use lactic acid that really gently exfoliates the hair and seals that color in. The surface of the hair fiber kind of seals that. We use tartaric acid because that's going to reduce the oxidative stress so that will we, have changes or tones that show up? Yes, but they'll come later because the tartaric acid reduces that oxidative stress. We have a recovery agent. Remember, one of the recovery agents that we have in Blond Absolu and Chronologiste was the Edelweiss flower. We have a Centella asiatica, which is a medicinal herb that really is known for its recovery properties. All this together gives you tremendous color preservation. So we have 2 shampoos, 2 bonds. They are both sulfate free, very important in the eyes of the consumer in the United States, especially in protecting their color. So they're both sulfate free, gentle cleansers. One is for the fine to medium hair, which is the Bond Chroma Respect. The other one is for medium to thick hair, giving you a little bit more exfoliation for that thicker medium to thick hair. Then we have 4 different treatments. We have our regular daily fondant conditioner. We have our mask. Then we have 2 specialty products. And for those that have been with Kerastase, remember a treatment called K-Water. K-Water was a shine treatment that was really geared as a cosmetic shine treatment that lasted until you shampooed. So whether you were, had a big day, going to be photographed, got your wedding, wanted a boost of shine, K-Water was great, but now we have a replacement for it that does more. It's going to give you that boost of shine to really brighten that beautiful color that you're preserving. And it's also going to give you all that preservation for your color with all the technology because it's got those 3 acids and the Centella asiatica. So it is a detangler. So it replaces once a week is the best way to use this to give you that boost of shine. You're going to saturate the hair fiber. It's very liquidy. It's a great detangling. It's also going to speed up your blow dry time. So that is a once a week in between using your fondant or your mask. Then we have a mask Vert, which is a neutralizer for darker levels 1 to 4 only. So dark brunettes, that are getting red copper tones. So this has got the green pigment. Now with this, it is a very deep, intense pigment. So it will stain your hands. You definitely need to use gloves. Inside the box that it comes in, you will receive 2 pairs of gloves. Now, from a functional standpoint, I want to explain this because it is a deep, intense green that can stain not only your hands, but also your floor if it spills, your shower as well. So what we recommend from a functional standpoint, it will neutralize that red copper that is needing that. We suggest, because it's very challenging to put gloves on in the shower when your hands are wet. So we suggest to shampoo and wash your body and then get out of the shower. Towel off, dry your hands, put the gloves on, then target placement of the mask where you need it while you're out of the shower so that you don't spill it. You're very targeted in the placement. You leave it on 1 to 4 minutes. Closer to 1 minute if you're looking for a warmer result, closer to 4 minutes if you're looking for a cooler result. Then go back in the shower and rinse. So that is, the functional way to use that. And then the final product that's going to give you color protection and guard against heat that can definitely impact and fade hair color, the serum Chroma Thermique. There's your heat protection. So beautiful fragrance in Chroma Absolu, excellent color preservation properties for this range, and definitely a product that's going to give darker levels what they need to neutralize unwanted tones of red and red copper. So then we go to Discipline. Discipline is all about controlling frizz. So the easiest way to understand how this works is think about what you do during the summertime when it's hot and it's humid out, and humidity is a big driver of frizz with our hair and really, uncomfortability. So what we do with our windows of our house in the summer when it's hot and humid, we close them. We shut down the windows, we keep that humidity out, and then we treat the inside air with air conditioning to really give it a good treatment, take out the moisture and give it a good feel. That's exactly what Discipline does. It shuts the windows, it closes down the cuticle, locks out all that humidity, and then treats the inside of that hair fiber by nourishing it and then giving that hair the control that it needs to avoid frizz. So we actually only have one shampoo now. We have the sulfate free that is also great for when a guest gets a keratin treatment, because generally those keratin treatments, those straighteners, need a sulfate free shampoo. So it's a great recommendation and tool to go for. We have our conditioner, fondant, and mask. This will be our heaviest of our ranges because it's really smoothing and controlling that hair. And then we have our keratin thermique, which is our heaviest of the thermiques. If that is too heavy for a fine hair consumer, they're going to want to use the spray fluidicine. And that is going to give you your heat protectant up to 450 for finer hairs. So we have 2 thermiques, the keratin thermique and fluidicine. So then when we've got a little bit more volume and thickness hair, we're going to need a little bit more weight to control and smooth that hair fiber and give us that frizz control. So we go to the Oleo Relax Discipline Complex. It's got a little bit more oils in it to give you that smoothing for more volume, thicker hair that needs frizz control. So we have our shampoo bond, we have a mask, we go directly to that because that hair is needing a more intense control. And then our serum oleo is our thermique, but it comes in the form of an oil because it needs that control. So we get our heat protection with the serum oleo relax. So then we go to densifique, and densifique is all about volume, thickness. So when our hair is not what its density used to be, we need to thicken it. We thicken it with the hyaluronic acid that plumps the hair fiber, the glucopeptides that also kind of treat that surface, restore the uniformity, and then the intrasilane also amplifies the diameter of that. So we get a thickening effect of the hair. So we have our shampoo bond, our conditioner fondant, our mask, and then the star product is called Densomorphose. This is a mousse with a very light hold, but a beautiful thickening effect. This is like Botox filler, thickening that hair fiber that is going to really give you an amazing cosmetic thickening. So this is a fantastic range for hair that is not what its once density was. Then we go to Divalon. Divalon's all about oily roots. So we get oily roots for a number of different causes. It can be biological, where we just have overactive oil production glands, but sometimes we actually cause our body to be overactive by shampooing too often, where we've really cleansed, we've dried that scalp. Whatever the scalp needs that it's not getting, it will make on its own, and it usually overproduces it. So with Divalon, is going to nourish, cleanse that oil off, but also balance out the oil production levels so that we actually solve the challenge and we don't just soak up the oil, but it stays. So we do it with a number of different, vitamin D, the amino acids, kaolin clay. All this together is going to balance those production of oil. We have a pre-cleanse. This is another one of our clarifiers. It is called Argile Equilibrante, and it is a cleansing clay. So it is a cleanser with a unique consistency. So it's going to very nourish and cleanse that oil with the kaolin, but it's going to balance out those oil production levels. This is a once a week cleanse, and then we're going to use our daily shampoo, the Bond Divalent. And generally, when you're cleansing oil, the lengths and the ends get a little dry. So then we'll need to use our mask rehydratant that really rehydrates those lengths and ends. So it's a beautiful range that's going to give us help for oily roots and dry ends. So then when we think about our scalp, our scalp is the foundation for healthy hair. So as we've gone through our COVID timeframe, people got very health conscious, searching, lots of different health situations, whether that was diet, whether that was skincare, whether that was scalp health. Scalp health was really at a premium. So when you have dry, irritated, itchy, dandruff situations, Potentialiste is the go-to. So when you think about dandruff, the cause of dandruff is actually a bacteria. It's a fungus. A lot of times people think the cause of dandruff is just dry scalp. No, that's really kind of a byproduct of the out of balance bacteria. So anytime you have a dandruff shampoo, if it does not have a antibacterial component to it, it's really not going to solve the problem. It will cleanse those flakes and the dryness, but it won't really solve it. It'll just keep it from being solved. So Potentialiste gives you what you need. So think of it this way too. When we take an antibiotic, when we've been sick, if we take it long enough, they're going to give us a probiotic or tell us we need to take a probiotic because we have a certain amount of bacteria that we need in our body that is good bacteria. And it's inside what's called our microbiome. And in our scalp, it's no different. We have a certain amount of bacteria we need there. When it gets out of balance, we get dry, we get itchy, we get irritated in our scalp, and we can end up with dandruff. So Potentialiste gives us, with the prebiotic, a balanced amount of bacteria in that scalp. So taking away the irritation, the itchiness, the dandruff, the flakes, and it nourishes that scalp, bringing it back to health. So when you have a guest that is, going through this challenge, you're going to want to let them use this every day for 3 weeks. And then after that, their scalp is back into balance with the right amount of bacteria. They're going to want to use it then every 3 days after that. So in essence, what they should or could use is day 1, day 2, use Initialiste multivitamin serum, and then use Potentialiste on that 3rd day. So this is a very medicinal scalp serum. You apply it the exact same way as you do the other ones with a dropper. This is a little bit more gel consistency. So it does stay in the hair fiber as well. It's got a beautiful fragrance. So you're going to want to use that for this. This can be for every consumer. It doesn't matter what hair range or family that they're using. This is a very medicinal product for their scalp. Okay, I'm going to skip this because that is discontinued. And now we get to the final segment, the stylers. So we have our Fresh Affair dry shampoo, amazing dry shampoo. So it is a great preventative. So before you go to the gym, before you go to bed, before you go outside, this will soak up those oils as they come along. You can use it after, but it's best used as a preventative. So it's got rice starch. You're going to want to shake it, but it does not leave a residue or a chalky or a powdery substance on it. It's got a great even mist, amazing fragrance. You're going to get fantastic volume with this too. 24-hour fragrance that really has a beautiful neroli scent, so along the lines of Tom Ford, kind of a citrusy fragrance. Beautiful dry shampoo that you will love. Then our next one is pronounced L'Encroab. So this is our blow dry lotion. Very versatile product here. In essence, this is a thermique with hold. So it's a flexible medium hold that gives you multi-usage. It's got great thermal protection, the 450-degree heat protection, great frizz control, 96 hours of anti-frizz. It slows greasing, so if somebody's got oily roots, it's going to give you some help with that. But it's got amazing shape memory, so you can reshape 3 to 4 times. You don't need to add more product. You just hit your hair with heat, and what it does, it heats up those micro waxes, and then you can reshape. So you can usually reshape 3 to 4 times. Very versatile. This is a product that a lot of times people will mix with their thermique because they'll say, I want my heat protection, I want hold, but I also want my benefits that my hair needs, whatever that might be. Color protection, strength and repair, blonde care, whatever it might be. You can use any of the thermiques in the hair care ranges and mix them with L'Encroab. So very versatile product as a blow dry lotion. So then we get into our volume builders. We have our traditional mousse bouffant, very buildable volume, medium and flexible hold without the crunch. So it's a very, very traditional all over volume mousse, very simple. Then we have VIP, which is volume in powder. So this is really your volume and texturizing spray. So a little bit stronger hold than mousse bouffant, but it's going to give you a little bit more grip, more texture for those beachy waves, those updos. It also really kind of is almost like if a mousse bouffant and the dry shampoo had a baby, it would be volume and powder. It used to be used kind of like a dry shampoo as well. So you're going to get great grip, stronger hold, beautiful volume with texture. Then we finish with our 2 sprays. We have La Couture, which is your medium flexible working spray. So you get great frizz control, very workable spray, color protection, but a good medium hold, very workable working spray. Then we have Lock Extreme. That's a more higher hold, no flaking, no stiffness though. It's really a firm memory, not a stiffness, but strong hold, but you can still maneuver the hair. You can still get a brush through it. Great humidity resistance, frizz control, beautiful triple mist spray. So very targeted, very precise, but a firm memory and hold. So these two are actually discontinued. So I'm going to leave you here with this is the pronunciation. Where you can also find pronunciation is in our website. Every product, if you're wondering how to say it, underneath the name, when you click on it on kerastase.com, you will find a button you can press that they will speak how to pronounce the name. So know that you have that as well. The other thing I encourage you to do is to, if you haven't already, to download the L'Oreal Access app onto your phone. Great resource for so many different education videos from all the L'Oreal professional brands. So almost everything you can think of is on Access. There are QR codes so that you can then just click on the QR codes and go to whatever you need. It's a great resource that has education at your fingertips with L'Oreal Access. So thank you for letting me join in with you. I encourage you to dig into Kerastase, experience, play around with the products. You'll find so many different beautiful options for all your guests. And I wish you the best of luck with our brand. And we're thankful that you're a part of our family, and we will see you soon.